Alright guys, the Amigo voice here and I'm back with another video. This time we are not doing a crafting video, instead we are doing a build guide. Since it has been highly requested, you guys really wanted to know what I was playing. I was playing Winter Orb of course, but you really wanted to know my spec, as you seem to feel like this has more DPS, and based on what I have seen, it at least has more single target DPS. I've been min-maxing it quite a bit, going for more DPS oriented gear instead of clear speed. So I'm not using the Ashes Mirror, I'm not using the Bisco Sleesh Belt, but instead I'm going for more DPS. Of course I'm still using some clear speed items, like for example getting Explosion on your Scepter, as it seems to give me a really nice clear speed boost. On top of that, we are going crit. Normally you would go non-crit, as Elemental Overload benefits the explosion, but I don't really scale the explosion that much, so I don't even know if it's worth having this at all actually. I could probably just go for a better DPS Scepter, and that would be much more reliable. But yeah, at the moment I have this for the fire resist actually, so it seems kind of decent for that at least. Yeah, I'm just gonna show you guys a quick map run before we jump right into the action. We can do a Hydra map. This build can do the Guardians. I have done Shaper as well, and I have not done Uber Elder because I can't get him to spawn. I still need to kill Red Elder to make him spawn, but to be honest, I'm not really gonna bother with that. I am level 98 though. Yeah, I haven't really played this build to 98. I kind of cheated because I joined those sexy Breach Lord rotations, or the Breach, you know, the pure Breach stones, that's what they're called. Pure Breach stones are absolutely crazy for leveling. I got 5% at level 96 per run. I was getting like 30% at level 91. So it's absolutely crazy. So yeah, you see the clear speed is still very nice, even though we're not scaling the explosions too much. I've been going for more of a tanky setup, just to be able to survive in the breach, in the pure breach stones. They are level 82 with a lot of damage. So yeah, this build is pretty tanky in my current setup. I have 6.3k life, and then I have 80 resists because of my lore weave, and then on top of that we also get fortify because we are using shield charge. So like effective life against elemental damage is somewhere like, I think 10k or something. We are running the Headhunter Jewel as well, the Inspired Learning. That gives me a lot of clear speed. At the moment, as you can see, we're getting a lot of map drops actually. I have Soul Eater, which just makes me absolutely fast. But that is very rare to get, as we only steal one of the mods from the rare monsters. Yeah, the single target is really good because we are using Wild Blade Vortex in our 6th link, in our chest piece. My Winter Orb setup is in my gloves, so that is basically how we can get a lot of single target DPS, because we have a 6 link single target skill. If you noticed, it looks like I'm temp chains, but that's actually not temp chains. The increased duration of all my buffs comes from our Solstice Vigil here, the new Shaper amulet. It basically, whenever we kill a rare monster, it gives us a buff called Shaper's Presence, which lasts 10 seconds and gives us 50% increased duration on all buffs. So that's very nice, and it actually also increases its own duration, so it's actually for 15 seconds. On top of that, it gives me temp chains, reduced mana reservation, so I can use free curse on top of that. That is why we are going dual curse, since I need the Warlord's Mark as well to be able to leech. So here we go. The damage is not the best, as you can see. It's decent. It's not really a boss killer. I just wanted to build it had good clear speed and at least a decent single target. If I wanted better single target, I would just go like Blade Vortex or something. It's much better for single target and has very good clear speed as well. But now I wanted to try a new skill, so that's why I took a Winter Orb. Yeah, we're probably gonna die here. The orbs hurt a lot. We don't want to get hit by that. Oh. fuck. I'm really bad at this game, guys, so if I die, it's not because the build is bad, it's basically because I suck at dodging. I'm really bad at this game. By the way. Oh, you saw that? I tried to dodge, but you know, yeah, I suck basically. Now we can see the single target, the Val Blade Vortex. I can pop that, and we also use Val Righteous Fire, which is also just a bit more DPS increase. There we go. We actually got a Shaper, Coral Ring, eye level 85. That's very nice. Okay, so now I'm just gonna quickly talk about the gear, and then we talk about the skill tree and all that afterwards. So the gear, of course, I'm using this Ancestral Club here. It's basically the only reason we use this is because it has the explosion as fire damage. I don't know if it's actually worth doing, because I don't think at the moment that the explosions can one-shot anyways, because I simply don't have enough damage that scales it on the tree. So I could probably get a way better weapon, but I haven't looked into that because I think my damage is fine at the moment. I don't really play, I just mostly craft anyways. The helmet, of course, we want to get the Winter Orb plus 2 stages enchant. It doesn't really help you for clearing, but it helps you a lot on single target. We're using a stock cornus head. That is, in my opinion, the best amulet the best helmet you can get for this build. Just simply because it gives you a ton of dexterity, and we are really needing dexterity on the build. On top of that, it gives us crit chance and life, and attack speed for our movement skill. The shield here, you could, I'm using a shield because I wanted to do shield charge, and then basically just anything to cap your resists, get life, and then damage once you have life and resists. I didn't get one with crit chance, but this one is fine for me and gives me a lot of resist, which I need to be capped, as I'm using a ton of uniques. Then we are using a ring here with Warlord's Mark on hit. This is absolutely important if you don't want to do a Blasphemy curse setup. Warlord's Mark is the only way we can sustain our life, except for Flasks. We need this for the leech, so it's very nice. On top of that, all the stats are pretty shit, and yeah, this is the main stat you want to be looking for on the Elder Ring. Then on the Shaper Ring, we're using Mark of the Shaper. It gives us a lot of life, and it gives us damage to spells, but the main part is the spell damage if the other ring is an Elder item. Since we are using the Warlord's Mark on hit, which can only spawn on Elder rings, this will always be an Elder ring, which means that we will always, when we're using Mark of the Shaper, get 78% spell damage, or 60 to 80 depending on your rolls. On top of that, it has the implicit for up to 25% elemental damage. On top of that, gives you added elemental damage and gives you a ton of life. This is basically the highest DPS you can get on a ring slot, and you get a lot of life as well. So it's just overall really good. Has no resists though, so you're gonna need to get that in other places. For the belt, just Stygian Vices. I used one I craft myself, just elemental damage and resists and life basically. As for the boots, get resists and movement speed, life. You also want here to get an enchant if you can get that, but I needed the resist, so I couldn't really fiddle around with an enchant. You can try and get the leech enchant, which in some cases can make you ditch the Warlord's Mark setup, but again, on single target you won't have reliable leech, which is where the leech relies the most, or you need the leech the most on single target, so I would definitely recommend still getting the Warlord's Mark. On top of that, I'm using gloves here. This is really good, as it's basically a 6 to 7 link, and it has +1 to gems. I would really count the faster casting as a gem socket, as cast speed is only like a quality of life issue. You don't need cast speed to be at maximum charges on single target anyways, so it's more like being able to charge it up more when you are moving around. Basically, just like Blade Vortex, when you have enough cast speed, it doesn't really matter, but it's still very nice and gives me a lot of damage and makes me able to use a 6 link for the single target. And for the 6 link, we are of course using a Lore Weave. Absolutely the best damage chest you can get here. Gives you an insane defensive boost, as it gives you up to 80 resists. On top of that, it gives you a lot of elemental damage if you get good rolls. Crit chance, attributes again, we need a lot of dex. And yeah, this is overall very nice. A 6 link at the moment is like 4x, so it's not even that expensive. I tried to double corrupt mine and got all white sockets, but you don't really need that. Yeah, and for flasks, basically, if you can get crit chance, this is the new veiled mod for I think from the mastermind. I had one of my friends craft it for me. This is very, very nice, as we kind of want to cap out on crit chance. We don't get much base crit. We don't have an shaper armor or anything like that. So getting crit chance on flask here on a diamond flask is gonna boost our crit chance a ton. Diamond flask is definitely recommended. Then just any movement flask. I do quicksilver. I don't have of adrenaline, but yeah, don't really need it. Getting a serious promise. You could do wise oak, but again, it's hard to balance your resists. And then getting a dying sun. Dying sun is also very good DPS flask. It scales off projectiles, and it's basically like barrage. So barrage also gets more damage from more projectiles. If you go to the skill tree here, we look at the ascendancy nodes here. I just take Shaper of Desolation, Beacon of Ruin, Pendulum of Destruction, and Mastermind of Discord. The most important ones are, of course, these two here. This one is not reliable. It's basically a cycle every 5 seconds. I don't really care about that. But the Mastermind of Discord is what really shines here. This makes our Herald of Ice actually give us 25% cold resist, which is penetration, which is absolutely crazy. That's basically 25% more damage. And then this one doesn't really matter either, but the big one is the Beacon of Ruin. As long as we have just a little bit of added lightning damage, you can see here I deal 99 to 326, and we get the lightning damage from our Mark of the Shaper. We can always shock. As long as you deal a little bit of lightning damage, you'll always shock, but shock is generally based on, like, the percentage damage increase is based on how much damage you deal. So if you deal, for example, 5% of the damage in one hit, it will be shocked, for meaning that they will take 5% increased damage for the next, I think, 3 seconds or something. But the Beacon of Ruin makes your damage from hits from shock always increase the damage taken by at least 20%. So even though we only hit for 1% of their life, we'll always take 20% increased damage, which is absolutely crazy, and it's basically a 20% damage multiplier. On top of that, it gives us, it just makes our chill and everything spread to other enemies very nice as a defensive boost. Since we are chilling everything, we have that we just deal so much crit cold damage. And then since we got free temp chains here from our Solstice Vigil, I actually forgot to talk about this one. This is just a really good amulet. This amulet here gives us Shaper Presence, as I mentioned earlier, which is just better buff duration and makes our Winter Orb stacks last longer. It's very, very nice. So with that, just gives us damage life. Overall, the best amulet we can get for this build. But yeah, the temp chains here means that we can use temp chains for free, which again, with our chill, just makes the enemies, they almost can't move. It's very, very nice. I can try to show you it in another map maybe later. But yeah, if you go for the skill tree here, we can see that we start out with the Witch. I move quite a bit around here. Normally I wouldn't take this area over here, but I spec'd in for more life. You can definitely just ditch everything over here and go for more defense if you prefer that. Whoa, what the fuck? This is a pretty big trade. Let me see. Be right, guys, I need to do this. This is a really good trade. It's a very good one to craft it. Alright, yeah. We spread around the tree a lot. This I took because I wanted to level to 100 in the breach shit. So yeah, I don't need damage there. We're getting carried by an aura bot and everything, so just more defensive. The curse, you don't need that, but in order to use your temp chains curse, you need to have this, or else you will basically just be wasting the free reservation, as you can only have one curse on the enemy, and it is the Warlord's Mark. It will always refresh when you hit. So even though you have Blasphemy, as long as you hit the enemy, you will always have Warlord's Mark on them. So this, I took the +1 curse just to also make the amulet a little bit more effective. So yeah, overall, if you're on Xbox, you cannot watch the path building link down below. So I will be, I'll just hover over the notes real quickly. If you can just skip it, guys, if you don't want to watch this. But we're going down to the Sign life nodes here. This is the best life tree on the whole skill tree. I forgot to take this actually. I don't know why. I need to do that at some point. Respec or something. This is very good. You need this for duration. On your Winter Orb skill, we go for quick recovery, of course. Getting the jewel sockets along the way. If I needed more jewel sockets, I could just grab these down here. A 3-point jewel socket or a 3-point jewel socket here. I think there's one more, a 3-point jewel socket here. I don't really need that. Jewels are not the best for the build. I would rather just get nodes, as spellcaster jewels are really expensive and added damage to spells doesn't really benefit us that much. But yeah, we're going over here, Retribution, Life, getting the area nodes here. The Light of Divinity is very nice as well. Crit chance, spell damage, cast speed, we benefit from everything. Going through the elemental damage over to Devotion for life and getting this jewel socket here. I needed the strength for my scepter, that's why I took it. Or else I would probably just skip the jewel socket, to be honest. It's not that important right now. You can also get the flask notes if you want that. I didn't take them because I didn't really feel like I needed them. I don't really have that many damage flasks. The Dying Sun only gets an additional projectile once you have 50% flask effect, which is impossible for this build to get. So it's only going to increase the AoE, and I don't really feel like that. So yeah, I didn't take that. Go for the life notes up here though, going through the spell crit. And I need to get the AoE here as well, but I had to unspec it because I wanted to get the +1 curse, or else you would take blast radius. This also increases your damage of the explosion and increases the area of the explosion, so this is very nice. If you go for clear speed, definitely pick up blast radius. I went through the crit multi here, got the cold damage and crit chance here through Snowforged. Went over, grabbed the life, getting more crit. Going down, grabbing the crit, grabbing the life, grabbing the attack and cast speed. And then over here, this seems a little cluttered, and I can tell you why. I would never pick these nodes up if it weren't because of Inspired Learning. Inspired Learning requires us to have 4 keystones in the radius, and we barely have that, as nullification actually counts. This means we have 4. Yeah, I would never pick up a power charge. It's not worth it at all. But since I wanted to go for a little bit of clear speed, and Headhunter effects is just fun, I went for this jewel here, and it required me to pick up these nodes. So if you wanted more damage and a single target and all that, definitely just unspec everything here. Maybe not the life part, and then equip or pick up more damage. As for more damage, definitely get the blast radius nodes and get the crit over here. Arcane potency is very important, damage wise as well. Yeah, I forgot to go over the gem setup, so I'll just do that real quickly. Shield charge, Culling Strike, Fortify. Culling Strike is only because of the quality, it gives us attack speed, and I have a faster attacks built in the weapon. If not, I would definitely prefer to get faster attacks over Culling, but now this is the 4 link, so it's just overall very nice. On top of that, we are using Curse on Hit, Assassin's Mark, Herald of Ice, and then Ice Bite for generating frenzy charges. Our Herald of Ice, oh, I can't speak. Our Herald of Ice actually kills stuff, which means that it will generate our frenzy charges. Very, very nice. Then we're using, of course, Blasphemy with Temp Chains. Phase Run, I'm not really using that. I don't even have it on my skill bar. I was just leveling up the gem. If you didn't have the shield charge, for example, we're going dual wielding with some damage wands or damage scepters, just go with Phase Run. It's very, very underrated skill. It's actually very nice for clearing. Bear in mind, you have to enable the buff again once you move or attack or anything like that. As for our Blade Vortex here, this is the Vile Blade Vortex as well. I don't know if this is the best gem setup. I don't think Added Fire is worth it, but I just picked it up. Yeah, I don't know why. I had it in my inventory, I think. So you have Control Destruction, Hypothermia, Conk Effect, Fist to Lightning, and Added Fire. Fist to Lightning is very important as we scale a lot of elemental damage and stuff in our tree, so Fist to Lightning is very, very nice there. We only convert 50% though, so yeah, it's kinda meh. And then for our single target, of course, Winter Orb, Control Destruction, Hypothermia, and GMP. GMP is definitely the best gem you can get here, as getting more projectiles is more damage. This gem setup, if you're not using gloves with more supports in them, this gem setup might change because I don't think faster casting would ever be worth it by itself. So then I would probably do another gem. I don't know what I would pick because I haven't tried using this in the 6th link. But you'll have to fiddle around with that yourself in path building. Yeah, and then we are using Righteous Fire and Haste. This is not for the auras, it's just for the Vial versions. Haste I do use though because it increases both my movement speed and attack speed. And since Shield Charge scales with both, you can see how fast I am right now. Without Haste, it's slower. You can definitely see a difference. I use Frost Bomb for single target as it just reduces enemies' co-resist by 25%. That is very nice as well. And then I use Arcane Surge on my Frost Bomb just for more cast speed and spell damage, I think. Yeah. So yeah guys, I think that was it. Oh, I forgot to mention the jewels real quickly. Jewels are just, the most important one is life, and then if you can get one with Onslaught, that is really nice as well. Which means you don't have to use an Onslaught Flask. I think I have Onslaught on this one here. I also have Phasing, also very nice. It's not really needed, but in the Elves, where you can get stuck, Phasing is very nice to have. Bear in mind, all your buffs, even the Onslaught here, will be increased by 50% because of our Solstice Vigil, and we almost always have this buff up. So this is very nice. It also increases your Headhunter buffs, which means they will last 30 seconds. And yeah, it's just very nice having these 5 to 6 permanent Headhunter buffs on you. But yeah guys, this was quite a long video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to look for the path of building, you can find it down below. If I got to mention anything, check out the description, I'll add it there. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll do more crafting content as well soon. So yeah, peace out.